Labour productivity statistics are published quarterly to observe and monitor the current performance of the country's labour productivity, which is the main driver of a country's economic growth. Thus, today DOSM will publish labour productivity statistics for the fourth quarter of 2020. It is influenced by various factors, namely the total employment, total hours worked, and value added. In fourth quarter 2020, the gross domestic product contracted 3.4% at 357.4 billion ringgit as compared to negative 2.6% from the previous quarter. Overall in 2020, it declined sharply 5.6% from 4.2% in the preceding year. In line with the shorter business operation hours following the conditional movement control order, total hours worked in this quarter declined 2.7%, registering total hours worked of 8.6 billion hours. Labour productivity per hour worked dropped 0.8% with a value of 42 ringgit per hour as against 41 ringgit per hour in last quarter. In 2020, labour productivity per hour worked increased at 3.4% from 2.2%. Employment in this quarter declined at a slower rate of 0.6% from negative 0.4% to record 15.2 million persons as compared to 15.1 million persons in the previous quarter. The labour productivity per employment this quarter showed a slower growth of 2.9% as compared to negative 2.2%. Value added per employment was 23,570 ringgit per person from 23,257 ringgit per person in third quarter 2020. Overall in 2020, labour productivity per employment dropped 5.4% as against positive growth of 2.1% in previous year, recording 88,899 ringgit per person. Next, let's turn to the details of labour productivity performance by economic sector in the fourth quarter of 2020. In terms of labour productivity per hour worked, only manufacturing posted a positive growth. In agriculture sector, labour productivity per hour worked dropped 0.4% in fourth quarter 2020 after registering positive growth of 0.7% in third quarter 2020. Labour productivity per employment also dropped 0.3% as against third quarter 2020. Labour productivity per hour worked was 25 ringgit per hour, while labour productivity per employment was 13,183 ringgit per person. Labour productivity per hour worked in mining and quarrying recorded a decline of 6.4% as compared to 4.5% in the previous quarter. On the other hand, labour productivity per employment dropped 9.1% from negative 4.6% last quarter. Labour productivity per hour worked was 575 ringgit per hour, while labour productivity per employment was 344,767 ringgit per person. Manufacturing is the only sector to record a positive growth for both labour productivity per hour worked and per employment at 6% and 3.2% respectively. Labour productivity per hour worked was 56 ringgit per hour in fourth quarter 2020, while labour productivity per employment was 32,592 ringgit per person. Labour productivity per hour worked for construction declined 6.7% as against negative 9% in last quarter. Labour productivity per employment decreased 8.4% compared to negative 10.2% in the preceding quarter. Labor productivity per hour work for this sector reduced to 17 ringgit per hour, while labor productivity per employment was 10,173 ringgit per person. Labor productivity per hour work for services reduced by 2.7% in this quarter as against negative 1.4%. Labor productivity per employment decreased 4.9% in this quarter compared to negative 3.9% in third quarter 2020. Labor productivity per hour work was 39 ringgit per hour, while labor productivity per employment was 22,304 ringgit per person. The pandemic had forced businesses to re-examine their existing business operation models and explore new opportunities through digitalization. With adoption of technology, it will improve efficiency in production and subsequently escalate the productivity in the medium and long term. An increase in production and productivity will drive profitability, hence sustain businesses as well as retaining employment and creating job opportunities. The statistics published in the report of Labour Productivity 4th quarter 2020, which presents statistics on labour productivity by economic activity expressed as value added per employment and value added per hour worked.